Hey there, it's Jen and I'm here to share a process video with you using the Freckled Fawn October kit. I'm going to be scrapbooking this photo of my daughter and I when we went to this place near us called Gardner Village where they have shops and stuff, and they had like a witch fest and all sorts of crazy stuff going on. And I want to create kind of a I want to create something with these leaves for sure. And I'm thinking of doing not a whole wreath, but like a little half one underneath the photo. And I'm going to be placing it all on this dot embossed background. This is from Basil. But I'm also going to be using the papers that are new to Freckled Fawn this month. So these are the three I'm thinking about using. Maybe the plaid, but I don't want it to overtake the plaid in the photos, but it kind of matches my daughter's shirt, so we'll see. But I'm thinking of using these as well, and I want to use a bunch of these speech bubbles for my journaling, and so that's what I'm planning on. And I like the idea of adding in some yellow and yellow-orange, so that's why I have this going on here. So I'm just going to put you on fast forward and let you watch me go through this process.
Okay, so I'm going to start by just trimming off that little top portion of my background paper, and then I'm going to start playing around with how I want these leaves to look. And I'm just going to, they're all twisted up, so I'm just untwisting them, and some of the leaves came off of the little sticks. They're just wire so that you can bend them and form them any way that you want. And I think that I would leave those on in a lot of cases, but you'll see in a second here, I'm gonna actually just rip all of those leaves off of those sticks, and they look just as good when they're off of it, so I'm fine with that. Before I do that, I'm trying to decide what I want to mount my photo with, and I decide to go with this cool orange striped paper, and I put it this way so that you could see both directions of the lines even when I cut it up, and I'm happy with that. It's very subtle and I like that look. So I'm thinking about what I want my title to be and how much space it's going to take up. So I decide for my title to be, well, at first I wanted to do Glorious October, but you'll see in a second here, I'm just putting that on some wax paper using those tile alphabets, that I felt like there could be a word underneath the word October more easily than there could be one on top of it, because you can see the ascenders, which are the T and the B that go up. They kind of make it so that my word would be awkward, but the bottom of the letters are all pretty much the same. They land on the same line, so it's easier to put a word below it. So I just changed my title to October Gladness, and I picked out all the letter stickers that were in that teal color. Here I decide to move my photo a little bit to the left. At first I thought I was going to center everything up, but I know I want to use all of those speech bubbles for my journaling, and I'm going to put them to the right of the photo. And what I'm doing now is fussy cutting a heart out of that pattern paper. I love that pattern paper. It's my favorite one that came with this kit. But I thought for sure that I would just fussy cut all those hearts out, but you'll see that I'm going to use it in a different way in a little bit. So here's where I'm taking all of those leaves off of those wire sticks, and I'm just going to kind of place them below the photo. At first I thought I would do a wreath, but what I decided to do instead is make it look like it's a little pile just at the bottom of the photo. So I'm placing the leaves in different directions. I'm just using a little glue dot on the very end of it so that I can tuck things still and make it look the way that I want it to. And I want it to be a little haphazard, but not too crazy, and I'm trying to make sure that all of the spaces are filled and that it looks kind of natural but also has some order to it, I guess. I thought that I wanted to place some other leaves in with these leaves, so I was thinking about the cork leaves, and then I thought about these little leaves that were on the chipboard, but it just didn't look right, so I'm just going to stick with the gold. Here's where I'm going to decide to put down my title, so I'm just centering it above the photo, and the word Gladness, I'm leaving it so that there's just the tiniest little bit of the photo mat above it, and then I'll place the word October above that. So I'm just going to rest it there for a minute, and I was thinking it would be nice to have a little something extra to that October. So I want to add some gold foil to it, and at first I thought I would use some just double-sided adhesive tape and tape off the bottom and then put the gold foil on. I had my daughter grab the gold foil for me, so she just put it to my right. But then I realized I would have to cut around all of it to make it work, and I remembered that I had a Deco foil pen, and this is just a pen that's filled with liquid adhesive that the Thermo Web Deco foil sticks to. So I'm just putting down a couple coats of it, and you have to let it dry to get tacky, so I'm just kind of like moving the October through the air so that the air dries it. And then I'm just going to place down a little piece of that gold, and you can see here, I'm trying to show you how cool it looks. There will be a close-up photo at the end of the video for you to see that even better. But it looks really cool. It's a little bit distressed. It's not perfect, and I just did it on the bottom half of the word, and I really like the way it turned out. So now I'm just going to glue that down, and I'm using my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive in a Fineline bottle, and those bottles come empty, and you can put whatever kind of glue you like in them. Now I'm going to play around with embellishment. I like that tiny little speech bubble. It's chipboard that has a pumpkin in it, and there's tons of pumpkins behind it, so I thought this would be the perfect place to use it, but it actually doesn't end up on the page. So while I'm thinking about how I want to embellish, I know I want to do all of my journaling on the side, and so I decide to start layering up these speech bubbles, and I'm just placing them so that the little tails of the speech bubbles don't run into the next one below it. And I'm also trying to make sure that the colors there's not like two blue ones next to each other or anything like that. So here I decide to pull out my 1-inch circle punch, and I'm punching the hearts out of the paper, and I decide to use those as embellishment. And I use this little chipboard arrow, and it's kind of pointing off the page, but it says noted or this, I can't remember what it says, and I can't read it as I'm recording the video, but I kind of felt like it was pointing to the journaling a little bit, so it is kind of pointing off the page. That kind of bugs me, but I'm living with it, and it's going to be okay. I'm playing with those puffy hearts now, and I love those. They're so cute. And I'm just trying to place one in each embellishment cluster. I really feel like there needs to be some sort of embellishment up by the title, but I'm having a hard time because I have my 3 areas of embellishment, and then that's a 4th place, and I don't usually like the way that looks. So you'll see me mess around a little bit here. I'm also putting those wood buttons, 1 in each cluster. So I've got the circle heart, which I'm putting up on foam squares, and then my little wood button, and then one of the puffy hearts. And I am happy with the way that looks. So I'm going to just go ahead and glue everything down. This bottom cluster by the leaves is the one that gave me the hardest time. I could not figure out where to put that heart. I felt like I didn't want to place it on the photo because it was going to go over my daughter, and I didn't want it to compete with her. And then it didn't look right anywhere else that I put it. So just see me play around with it a lot. So now I've gone ahead and written in my journaling, and I'm going to stamp my date. I decided to use some orange ink from Ali Edwards to stamp that, and I'm just stamping the date below my journaling. And now I'm going to play around with adding some more leaves to this bottom cluster. I thought maybe I can just use the pattern paper to make some more leaves. I just felt like you can see at the top, the October goes almost to the top. There's only a little bit of space above it, and I felt like the bottom needed something else because I want that space to be equidistant. And so I'm trying to figure out what I can put there. I thought maybe one of these chipboard pieces. It just doesn't feel like it's weighty enough, and it feels a little bit out of place. I put that down, but you'll see in a minute I'm going to change my mind. I put a little bit of the washi tape that's plaid there, and then I thought, why don't I add a strip of that plaid paper to the bottom? Now, the paper is 8.5 by 11. Next month's kit has 12 by 12 paper, but this month is only 8.5 by 11. So what I decided to do is it's about a 1-inch strip, and then I'm just piecing it together here. And it's going to work out okay, and you can hardly tell once I'm finished, and I'm okay with that. So that's pretty much going to finish this off. I'm going to add a little bit of gold Heidi Swap color shine in my clusters, and that is going to complete this. I hope that you've enjoyed. There's some close-up photos coming up, And be sure to head over to freckledfawn.com to check out all of these cute products and head over to the blog to see more information. I'll link to all available products in the video description. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.